Hi, I'm Sophie, and I haven't seen a lot of movies.
Hi, I'm Paul, and I'm here to help with that. And we are
SP Film Viewers.
It's not even bonfire night, and fireworks are already going off. So this is going to make interesting for editing, I guess, if there's
I
any
think you should
bangs.
just leave it. It is what it is. It's bonfire weekend,
Yeah.
I guess,
Yeah,
instead of just on the Sunday or whatever, So people are making the most of it. To be fair, you're going to want to do it earlier. Why would anyone want to be doing it on a Sunday night? Depends on what the weather's like, isn't it? Depends.
Doesn't normally stop people.
No, it doesn't. If it's a miserable night, then there's no point in...
No.
You can't see it, can you? Or it's going to be wet, or it's going to be harder to light. But yeah.
This is us for the next... till Christmas, New Year's now. There's fireworks constantly. But...
Yeah. Just an FYI before we start. I'm really sorry if I sound a bit husky or...
The normal...
Yeah. Who's got a husky actress voice?
I thought you were going to say Emma Stone there, because I thought
yes.
there was a dig on that.
Sounds like
I've
I've smoked 20 packets of cigarettes in one go.
Sophie's getting over a cold that I had from, I don't know, picked up from something going round, I think. But
sharing's caring, isn't it? Obviously. What a wonderful gift you gave me.
But anyways, the film we're going to be talking about today, after all that firework talk, is The Graduate from 1967, starring Dustin Hoffman. I think you'll know him once you should see him. I was to show you a picture, you'll be like, oh yeah. You've seen him, probably as his oldest self, he's quite young in this film.
Oh yeah. What's he been
in? Hook, the Peter Pan retelling.
Meet the
Fuck.
Yeah, I think I've seen that, sadly.
Yeah, what's the other one called? The other one? But probably other comedy stuff as well. Meet the Parents, though.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know, he reminds me of the other one, other grey-haired man. It was really helpful.
Steve Martin. Really?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. It's been a while since in this film, but he's very good in this film, and I'm hoping you're gonna like the film. It's like a drama romance, if you would call it that.
And it's somewhat old, so
yeah,
not like black and white old, but yeah.
And it also features some Simon and Garfunkel music.
Okay.
So you probably know when you hear the songs playing through.
I'm really bad with names and artists. I know the songs, and I probably could, if I hear it, I can sing along to it.
Yeah.
But I won't be like, oh, that's Simon and Garfunkel.
So I'll read you the synopsis before we get into things.
Mm-hmm.
Which actually, this one just on the Google search is actually pretty good in terms of not giving anything away. So it'd be interesting to see what you take from this interpretation.
Okay.
Benjamin is fresh out of college. Reluctant to follow his parents' advice of earning a substantial amount of money and marrying a noble woman, he soon finds himself in a world he never imagined. So that doesn't really give too much away, does it? But obviously, from what I know, because I've seen the film multiple times, but
it doesn't. But it makes me feel like rich boy rebelling. That's how I've interpreted that from what you've said. Basically, sounds like he's already got a successful career behind him, or should have with graduating. And his parents are like, "Well, you need to make some," and I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know what he's going to do, but. Yeah, it seems like he's got chosen the wrong path of what his parents have provided and guidelined him.
Yeah.
Voice is getting deeper.
We're talking on this, but then tomorrow we'll see. So yeah, we're going to watch the film now and then come back with fresh minds and hopefully improved
voice.
You'll improve tomorrow a little bit better.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Right, so we're back in due course with Sophie's thoughts on The Graduate.
Haven't you ever seen anybody in a slip before?
Yes, I have, but I just... Look, what if Mr. Robinson walked in right now?
What if he did?
Well, it would look pretty funny, wouldn't it?
Don't you think he trusts us together?
Of course he does, but he might get the wrong idea. Anyone might.
I don't see why. I'm twice as old as you are. How could anyone think that?
But they would, don't you see?
Benjamin, I am not trying to seduce you.
I know that, but please, Mrs. Robinson, this is difficult.
Would you like me to seduce you?
What?
Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I'm going home now. I apologize for what I said. I hope you can forget it, but I'm going home right now.
And we're back. And as we thought, it's fireworks going off constantly. So
I think it's a dry day. It's not been raining.
Damn, yeah.
It's been a nice day. It's cold though today.
Yeah, very bitter.
Cool
Crisp.
wind coming in. Anyways, about this movie, we have got our main man Ben.
Yep, Dustin Hoffman.
Benjamin.
Yep.
And it's very much a timepiece. Didn't know if Mrs. Robinson, the song, was made for this film or if they made a film about the song from this.
I think Simon and Garfunkel were approached to write music for the film. They might have, some of it might have already been pre-made, if that makes sense. Like, it wasn't, you must write this for this film. It was something they already had as a concept. But then, like, there was like, right, oh no, this music would work for this film.
Seemed to be Simon and Garfunkel were the only artists they used. It wasn't like, we want a bit of a mixed bag.
Yeah.
It was like...
Other than the score, perhaps, but yeah.
And the same songs were played quite a lot.
Yeah, I was going to bring this up later, obviously, but as we sort of like maybe go through the beat story, but we may as well go with it now. This is kind of like one of the things that did kind of annoy me at the sort of more the latter back end of the film when they started playing this Scarborough Fair over and over. Okay, right, dude, why is this the case? Why are we just rinsing and repeating?
Oh, clearly didn't have anything else to put in there. To be fair, with this film, I thoroughly enjoy it, but then the back end it gets a little bit like predictable, I guess. And I know that sounds daft, like, oh, Sophie, you always want it to be predictable and you want to know everything. And then I like contradict myself and go, oh, it's predictable. But I think it was quite intriguing at first.
Now go back to the beginning of everything. So I noticed a lot of how it sort of felt very claustrophobic at the beginning for him.
That would have been exhausting. Like, for me, I would hate that.
Being bombarded with everyone.
I'd be like, just leave me alone.
Especially because there's a lot of like the close-up shots of you didn't see much of the like low open
his
full body.
Personal bubble space was just being popped several times. And I think as well, I know it's hard for you to think of when you were 21, but it wasn't that long ago for me.
Really?
Yeah. There's so much pressure once you've graduated and like for you to be this amazing successful person because you've got this piece of paper and numbers now behind your name.
Yeah, you're expected to do something with that those years that you've invested in time.
And you're going to make something yourself, and it's hard because you've done so well. And I think this sounds awful, and I think this is what's wrong with the system, is you're encouraged to do really well at school and get the high grades and everything. And then when you come out of school, to be fair, it means absolute bollocks. It's just you need experience. Well, I hadn't had any experience. Well,
how do you get experience?
It's when no one's going to give me any experience. But you've got everything on paper that you're bringing in. You can do it, and it's just a vicious circle.
It's who you know.
I think definitely, obviously for him, in the 60s, like Mum said, she used to be able to just walk. There'd be a sign on the door, and it would say, "Oh, job available." Cool. You'd walk in, and it would be
knock on the door like, "Oh, what can you do this?" Yep, sure, you're hired. That's it,
and that would be it. Whereas for us now, you have to go through all these forms and regulations and everything, and it's just harder. But for him, I think he'd got a lot of pressure from his parents to succeed and do well and be obviously really successful. And he's come from a rich background. I was right. Like, they're very well off. They've got a lovely house and swimming pool and you know, all of that. And his dad's partners with the next door neighbours, and it's all very cliquey and...
Yeah, they've kind of got his life planned out for him already. That's what it seems like for him. It's like, right, you know, you got the job, right, you're going to go out with my daughter and kind of that kind of stuff. And yeah.
It's literally like palming him off on who he should marry, what job he should go down and everything. And at some point you do think, well, actually it's nice that they're helping him like pave his way and supporting him. But at the same time, it can be overbearing because like, well, he's not making a decision for himself.
Yeah, and you can see it in he acts with his eyes very well in this. Like, he's kind of, there's moments when he's just like, just staring, and he's probably thinking, oh, you can see through that, in his head, he's probably got a million thoughts running around, like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like, have I got to go along with what my parents are doing?
But also kind of like a shell of a man, basically, because he's not
moulded into anything, he's other than to what they want him to be.
And it's exhausting. I think it's hard when you've got parents that you want to please and you want to do well for, because they've given you such a brilliant foundation to start off with, that then you're like, well, I need to do everything for them and appease them. And also because they've got such a big, wider social platform, everybody wants to know what he's doing. Everybody wants to know what's his next step, what's your big future plans and all of this. And it's like, well, I don't have any. And I think when you're at 21, you don't. It's one of those weird, scary things, because you've been in education your entire life, if you've gone all the way through to like university. You're then actually becoming into the real world and being an adult.
Yeah, and now you've got those responsibilities of being an adult, and they just expect you to...
Being successful at being 21 in a commercial business or in any kind of job, you're starting from the bottom again. You're not going to be this amazing thing that you were when you graduated. And I think that's the bit of a shift, because it's like, well, yeah, okay, you've come to your high peak of graduation. Yeah,
top marks of the class and everything, but then you've still got to prove yourself in another factor with those skills.
Yeah, and then you're probably doing tea duties and coffees.
Being a runner for, like, if you're in the film industry, that's where you start. If you have to start from the lowest, the low, to somehow prove yourself in some capacity to get to, if you want to be a big actor and stuff, that's what you've got to do.
Or a director or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
who's at this party then? Obviously, this Mrs. Robinson comes into...
She's beautiful. Like, I think she must be like 40s, would you say? 50s?
No, I'd say probably 40s.
Well, she started young then, because her daughter's like 21 as well, so I'm like, well, I guess she was in 20s.
I wouldn't say she was 50s, late 40s maybe.
Maybe late 40s, yeah.
Yeah.
Because she'd have to have a child.
Yeah.
Well, she's a bit... She likes popping... You can't really say young men's cherries, can you?
It's the same principle.
You don't really have a cherry to pop, do you?
We're just losing virginity then, if that's what you...
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Basically, she wants to sew her...
It's men who sew this.
Oh, well, I don't know what she wants. I think she
just wants...
She's into younger men, let's just say, and she wants to show him.
At times, she finds him attractive.
It's a bit wrong, though, because, like, literally, she's got a daughter his age. Obviously, he's like, of age now. He can do that. He can sleep with whoever he wants, I guess. But
he was at 18, but yeah. He was at 18, so only a few years difference, yeah. It's not like they're drinking it, like he's literally legally allowed to drink now, but...
But I think it's... I don't know, I think it's because he seems so uncomfortable with it all. Like, he knows it's wrong in the way that she's kind of throwing herself at him.
And how he's acting as well, like he's got that nervous disposition about him, even... Well, rightly so with this, because it's a bit like, oh, this is wrong. But it's almost like he can't look away and...
Well, I can... Not meaning this in a bad way, unless you're not into women. I don't know what man would not look away.
It's like boys' fantasy, yeah. Really,
basically is, isn't it? Yeah. Let's be honest.
One of the famous shots of when he's got the leg, she's got the leg up, and it's like you see is him through, like, in the background, kind of like, oh, you're trying to seduce me, and that's like another famous line from... So there's quite a few in this film, but when she does strip down and he's like, oh, geez. And then it's like there's flashes of like seeing a breast and like a low.
And I think it's quite funny.
Again, it's kind of like daunting for him. It's like, oh, I'm so flustered, and like we're seeing it through his eyes and like, oh my god.
But also, I think because of the contrast of her body, that was quite funny because she was very tanned everywhere else, but then like on her breasts, she wasn't, and it was like this palest thing, and then like when she'd taken her pants off, she was quite pale in that area, and it just seemed, I don't know, a bit unnatural as well, like with the way that they were cutting back and forth to things, because like the colours of her bodies were changing. But I guess for him it was quite like, oh, I shouldn't look there. Like that's how you felt.
Yeah, it's just like a quick glance, isn't it? It's that in that kind of sense. It's like, oh, I'm looking away, but I'm gonna look back and you do.
Not kind of be awful. It reminded me a little bit of you a little bit sometimes with the way he acted, like his social awkward little aspects.
I can see that,
of that, because I feel like
I
that
sort of relate to the beginning, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not offending
no,
you.
No. But all the while she's doing this sort of like reverse psychology thing
she's
with
a
him.
Bitch,
It's like,
she?
Yeah.
She's not daft. Women are very manipulative. We are awful. I can't, and everyone's gonna be like, "What, Sophie? Well, you're always women empowerment," but we are. We know what we're doing. We're not daft. And she clearly knows what she wants, and she's going to get it.
Yeah.
And she is an awful character, to be honest. She's very manipulative. She knows he's only 21. He's easy to brainwash. He's easy to get what she wants out of him, and it just go everything her way, basically. So he's obviously doubting it, and then he hears her husband coming home, and
oh yeah, the husband who is, I pointed out, it's the mayor from Jaws.
Yeah, he did. That seems really weird, though, isn't it? Because I feel like from that, I'm taking it he's encouraging.
It sounds like he is, isn't it? It's almost like I know you want to kind of thing, and as if like, come on, throw her a bone, because we're at this point you don't really know there's trouble in paradise for them, but it's at that point it's like, why are you seeming like you're encouraging this behaviour in a way which is probably not the case, but for him it comes across.
Well, for me, it came across initially like he's like, you need to show your own notes. Don't you think and he's asking his wife, and she's like, oh, yes, I think
don't
he
you
should.
think? Yeah.
And it's like he's condoning it. And
with the framing of it as well, like, like that she's in the frame, like that, and then they're off to the side. And
I think the camera work on this.
Yeah, really, really strong. A lot of good editing and framing of the characters and the scenes. Yeah,
there's another scene where I'll get to later where it's quite cleverly done as well, and I just think that's what makes this more unique as a piece. So he ends up going home flustered and not sure what to do with himself, basically, doesn't he? And then he finds himself more and more the thought of this woman, and I think he must be a virgin. Like she's kind of asking the questions, isn't she? Once he brings her over, so they kind of go to a hotel, don't they? They get a drink.
Oh, before that though, that.
What's before then?
When he's at that, like, everyone's again like crowding around him, like with the scuba gear.
This is the scene I wanted to say, but I thought it was later on for some reason.
No, that's the beginning, because again, everyone's around him going, right, because he's just turned 21, whereas in this, for some reason, there's this scuba gear that he spent $200 on or something.
Don't really get why.
Yeah, no, you explain what you think is the clever shot.
It's when he's wearing I don't know if they're called
the point of view. Yeah, point of view of the goggles.
You're seeing everybody looking at you, and it's kind of like that oval circle effect where everything else is blacked out. You can only see what's through the goggles.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just really clever because you're literally being his person.
And the sound's all blocked out, and you just hear him breathing like Darth Vader almost. And everyone's just like, the thing, and then like nobody's listening to him. He feels.
I think that's how it kind of portrays as well, because he's in that suit and he said he's not wanted to do it. He said he didn't want to be part of it. He didn't want the party or anything like that, and nobody's paying attention to him. And that's kind of then what the suit represents, and it's cleverly done. I think it loses this, the cleverness starts, and then I think it drifts off towards the end.
I kind of get what you mean, and the fact that even at the beginning, well, obviously, like, there's the whole fish tank thing, and there's the bubbles of that, and then this pool, I feel like it's kind of like he feels like especially when he dives in the pool, he's like he's drowning really with all this pressure, responsibility that he's got, and just like, oh, it's too much. Yeah. Really, there's a lot of...
It's weird though, because he just stands in the pool then, like with the...
with the stuff.
I just don't understand, because like the whole reason of going like scuba diving is to see fish under the sea, and it's like, well, why does he need to see the bottom of a swimming pool? Like...
Yeah, he could do that at any point, couldn't he?
Well, yeah. You could dive down and you wouldn't need
family owns it, and it's like, oh, what's down there? I need a scuba gear to know what's at the bottom.
You wouldn't even need that. You could dive down and hold your breath, because it's not that deep.
It doesn't really come back at any point later on, other than just to signify that. I feel like it's just a
good kind of metaphor within the piece of part.
Yeah. So then we go to the hotel where he's still a little bit nervous.
He's so fumbly. It reminds me of when we first started dating, and you would be quite shy and reserved, and you wouldn't know what to really do with yourself. And I think that's just a typical younger boy at that stage, isn't it? Where he's like just turning a man, not really truly a man. He's a man, boy, child.
Because he can't even, like, when he's at the bar trying to get the waiter's attention.
I know that pain. Yeah, I still feel that, and I'm like in my 30s, and they still don't look at me.
Right.
Like
trying to get their attention, and Mrs. Robinson when she does eventually come to see him, she's like immediately, she's got that presence, that power, and where it's like, yes, I'll get the drink for you right now. Whereas for him, it's excuse me,
and everyone's ignoring him. Yeah, we know a little.
Yeah, we know that feel. Yeah, so nothing's changed there.
No, to be fair, I think it's me that does it more than you, doesn't it? Like to get their attention. Then it's like, well, should we book a room? Well, have you booked a room? And it's that kind of conversation. Well, maybe you should book a room. And it gets to a point of where he gets so nervous that he gets to book a room, and they're like, oh, what luggage do you need bringing in? Oh, I don't need any luggage bringing in. I just have my toothbrush. And he feels like he has to explain himself and give more details than is actually needed. He could have just said no and it would have been fine.
Yeah. But so it's a level of comedy that's not cringy as well. It works. Yeah, because of the way it's done. Again, it's done differently in a modern sense. It would just come across as just really bad, really poor.
It's done innocently. I think that's why it works really well, because he's just being really innocent and naive about it all.
Yeah, because there's also the thing when I think the people at reception are like, "Are you here for an affair?" And it's like, "What? You mean the dinner reception?" Yeah. Oh right, yeah, of course, yeah.
And he's just like quite startled by everything. He then rings her and he's like, oh, we've got a room. And she's like, right, so I'm going to go up first. And then he's about to hang up and she's like, don't you think you need to tell me something?
I really appreciate this or something, he says. And no, but in just the room number. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's a bit awkward because it seems like they literally just get down to it. It's like it's more physical than it is like a connection.
Yes, that's all she wants from it, really.
Yeah.
And he's sort of like persona changed a little bit after the fact. He feels like he feels a bit more confident, innocent, cool, and about it. Because I've had sex now, and
it's with an older woman, and thinks that he's all amazing.
Yeah,
he sits on his sun lounge for a long time, and notice where the beer can or whatever it is placed quite near his, area. Showing that he's quite cock of the shop now and such. And he becomes a bit more cocky and arrogant.
Yeah, when his parents, I like that shot, another good shot, where his dad's, standing over, blocking out the sun, almost like a shadow. He's like, when are you going to start, doing something with your life?
Peering down on him.
Yeah, domineering, And then everybody else starts crowding around and doing the same thing.
I can't even see Mrs. Robinson.
Yeah, no, again, another good use of camera work there.
I think then he gets more comfortable with Mrs. Robinson and wants to know a bit more about her.
Let's have a conversation, and
this is where it goes sour, where he's asking her about why she married Mr. Robinson and what's happening. And she's like, we're in separate beds. We don't, we're not really in love anymore. The only reason why they got married was because she got pregnant. I thought it might be money. I thought that could be something else as well. But then she's like adamant, do not ever, 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 Taylor Swift style, date my daughter. Which you would think, well, if you're sleeping with his mum, why would you want to date the daughter? It's a bit weird.
Anybody would find it weird.
But, in this film, they don't.
Maybe it's because it's the 60s.
Maybe, because I feel like that's like a little bit of a no-go for me. It's like, well, you've trespassed somewhere that I came out of. So I feel like it's not right.
That's one way of putting it, It doesn't help, obviously, because it's a bit like, well, because the father seems to be pushing that factor. Oh, will you go on a date with my daughter? But he's between a rock and a hard place, isn't it? Because it's like, well, I've got to appease him, because, like, again, badgering me about this. And it's like, so I guess I'll do it. But
his
then
parents.
Yeah, because I think that they're wanting that to be, like, because they're like partners in with it. So it's like, oh, right, building the connections there.
Well, yeah, and they're probably thinking when they're no longer around, they'll become partners and they're married already, so.
Done deal, yeah. It's arranged marriage in a sense.
Yeah,
kind of forcing that. When they're talking about, obviously, that he was all that adamant about, let's have a conversation in bed before we get down to it. And then by the end of it, it's like, I don't want to talk about it at all. Let's just do it, kind of thing. So he's kind of like just disheartened about the whole situation with what Miss Robinson's been saying. Right.
And I think as well, because he feels like she says he's not good enough for her daughter at one point, and then he calls her disgusting and vile and all of this. So they're kind of getting to a point already where it's becoming a bit more bitter. Okay. And she's like, just promise me you'll never go out with her. And I get it, because she wants to keep him to herself. She don't want that. And to be honest, really, I think she's jealous of her daughter. There's a weird relationship there that is not normal, because she doesn't want the best for her daughter.
So I can't have you, no one can.
Yeah.
Thing. But so he does end up having to go on a date with Elaine anyway, and so he has to, for some reason, I guess it's kind of just to, so the date went bad, but it's like, I mean,
didn't have to go that badly though, did it?
Let's go to a strip joint and sit down and shut up and it's a bit. I do feel sorry for Elaine, but especially when the stripper starts doing his nipple tosses over her head, it's like, what?
That she's feeling uncomfortable, so it's like you're making the matters even worse.
Yeah,
and then
he does come to the realization this is wrong, and just
that's when she's crying her eyes out. Yeah,
it's like a little too late, but yeah.
But then she don't want to talk to him. She don't want anything to do with him, which I don't blame her. I would have done exactly the same. Why would you take me there on my first date? Do you really not like me? And that's what she's thinking. If you didn't want to go on a date with me, you should have just not gone on a date with me.
It seems fine after that, though. After he says
he's honest, then, and I think honesty is the best policy, isn't it? So he tells her the truth. Well, partially the truth. Yeah. I'm sorry, my voice is getting worse, so I do apologise. Okay. And basically, they hit it off, don't they? He's smitten. Yeah. And he should have just dated her in the first place instead of hooking up with her mum.
But no, it's because she was coming back from Berkeley, the university, so she wasn't there at the time. So
he had to wait, basically, and he didn't want to wait.
But he didn't have to wait, because they didn't know it wouldn't have the connection, would you? Because you didn't know what she was like, because...
No, but what I mean is if he'd have waited a week or two, he then just met her, then he could have just married her, and you wouldn't have had this whole film.
No, you wouldn't. That'd be a... What? You have?
You just, Sophie, why do you think like that? I know. Obviously, the mum is getting to a point of where she's like, well, you can't be with my daughter, and if you two are going to start dating, then I'm going to tell her the truth. So Ben thinks it's best for it to come from him. Even though, to be fair, they've only been on one date, and now he's, in love with her. And obviously, she thinks it's sick, it's twisted, which anyone would.
Yeah, of course. As I said,
looks at her mum and she's really upset.
Realisation of it. Again, it's told with just those stares of,
really
realisation.
But I don't get the mum's part in this. Because, she loses out as well. Would she rather just not have Benjamin and have a family still and them not know? Because she loses everything. She loses Benjamin, she loses her daughter, she loses her husband.
For her, I don't know what the best case scenario was. Really, what you think it was going to...
she was calling his bluff. I think she wanted to be manipulating him, and I didn't think she realised...
to keep it going, but these things never work out, do they? Really, divorce from her husband, and then suddenly they get together with Benjamin and marry him, and what? I don't know. The daughter's going to be, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's fine with it.
Yeah, no, of course not. But that was another shot where Miss Robinson's in the far corner after that whole just leave, whatever. And she's kind of just feels cornered and by it all. Everything just taken
Looks
back.
small as well,
Yeah,
like in the distance,
it's-
like, and that's quite different to how her character's been perceived throughout the beginning.
Mhm.
Like she's quite confident, quite bold, quite in your face.
Yeah.
And this
And
she was
now-
like a shell kind of.
So then I think this is probably when you were probably getting a bit, losing it a bit, really.
Yeah.
Which I don't blame you for, because it is a bit, again, I'd forgotten like how many times that song had been played. I've thought back to Howsu, actually. You know, when but that was just an instrumental piece that kept playing in the music, fair enough. But this was the same, like the lyric, because they had lyrics that kept.
Yeah.
It's just the same lyrics.
There was another movie we watched, and it had, I can't remember what it was, but it was more like a lyric piece, and it just kept playing it. It's like they'd only, I think it was another Japanese film we watched, or a Korean.
Oh, I know what you're thinking of. Chungking Express, where it's the California Dreaming song.
Yes.
Yeah. But that was because they had like a limited. The director had a limited budget, and so like that was the one song that it could use. Yeah,
and that's
like guerrilla filming, and so there was a reason behind that. For this, I don't really know why they couldn't use any even
throughout the beginning. It was really thought when they played the songs. It was like there was one where it said and darkness, and then
hello darkness, my old friend.
Yeah, and it went
Sound of Silence
to darkness.
Or even at the very beginning when he's coming from the airport and he's kind of just reminding me of Jackie Brown a little bit. You know, when she's across 110th Street, where she's coming on that moving escalator thing, and he's kind of again just staring at the void, and just as people passing by, and it's like, I feel so empty. Come back from graduation.
Yeah.
Now what?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Now what do I do?
It had a purpose. So I don't really know in those scenes where they're now stalking Elaine at uni. What's that got to do with Scar Repair?
Maybe he wants to take her there.
A true love of mine, but it's don't keep emphasising it with that song. It's a bit repetitive, and
he's getting on my nerves. I won't lie. And there's a lot of I feel like it became a bit dead weighted at the end. A lot of running around after her.
It's like, why are you pining over it? And
you could have had her like at the get go if you'd have been patient.
It didn't need to go on for so long with that, I don't think. Oh, no. Because it almost seemed like a bit, again, stalkerish.
And it felt like a different part of a film. Like, it wasn't like what you were...
Yeah, he's broken in a different way as opposed to what he was at the start.
And I think, as well, for him, he's not doing anything with his life, so it feels like, well, you've just become really successful at the beginning, and then you're not doing anything now.
And how is he also then paying for these digs that he's staying at so that he can be close to her? And, paying for petrol for the car, for example, travel that distances. Where's the money come from?
Engagement ring that he buys and the presents, it's stuff. All mummy and daddy orientated, isn't it?
Clearly. Yeah. Then
he just keeps nagging to marry her, and it's like, I know obviously we're in the 60s here, so it's a different thing, like, you used to get married quite young, in your early 20s, and it's just like, you don't even know her that well.
No. Or even he even explains to his parents with another. It's a bit weird when the mother was like, does that scream as if she'd been stabbed or something?
Yeah.
There was a weird overreaction in that sense. And then he explains to her, like, oh, well, they don't even know about it. And Elaine doesn't even know that I'm going to marry her. And it's like, well, to be honest, we don't really get along at all. It's like, this isn't a half-baked idea.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's fully baked. What?
And it's like, how is it? But then that sounds a bit forceful as well. Yeah. Like, you're going to marry me.
Yeah.
No matter what. You don't like me, but I'm going to make you marry me.
Yeah.
And then what are you going to do?
Well, that kind of comes more to that point at the end, doesn't it? The very, very end, but we're not quite there yet. Like, the dad, the mayor of Hamilton Island, is there to say, I can't believe you did this, Ben. What are you doing? Like, I think you're scum. That kind of stuff that he says to him. It's like, don't you even think about her anymore, and like, stay away from. So he's kind of burning his bridges there and everything.
Yeah.
That.
The parents then are like sweeping her away. Found another guy who's better than Ben.
I forgot his name now. I don't
know. Doctor something.
The blonde-haired guy, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's better for him, apparently, and
marrying her off already, and it's like she's not even graduated, or she's going back to, what were they calling it? Like, but they've done college, and then they do something else apparently.
Oh, not post graduation. I don't know.
I forgot what they said. She said it to Benjamin a couple of times. You're not going to like upper college or I don't know.
Yeah,
something ridiculous like that. Yeah, it seems a bit weird. It comes to the conclusion that for Elaine, her mum tells her that prior, just backtracking, that basically Benjamin raped her. That's
covering her back. That's why she'll be like, "Mum, why did you do this?" And she'll be like, "Oh, trying to spin the story to make her not look." That's why it's still okay, amicable with her parents a little bit. Oh, sorry, with her mother rather. Even
still coming back for Benjamin, and still kind of that attraction's still there. And it's like, well, is it because she knows the mum's actually lying? I guess she must know what a mum's like by now.
Seems like it at the end again with that whole the situation because she's been forced into it. But yeah, making it sound like mother's told her a different story to what Ben's. Obviously what has happened, but it really does seem like a strange relationship him and Elaine have got. Really, it's like, I love you, hate you type of thing.
Yeah.
Or he's smitten, but it's more.
He's like, when are you going to marry me? Are you going to marry me tomorrow?
Maybe.
Next day? Yeah. And it's like, I think she's just leading him on. I think she likes the attention, and I think it's like
like the mother in a sense.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
But in a different way because also, she's not trying to give it up like her mother is.
No, but I think as well, she's wanting him to fight for her a little bit because he has done wrong, so she's putting him through the ring, which is fair
prove
enough.
Yourself, yeah.
Yeah.
And so he kind of, by the end of it, he kind of does that because he's going to great lengths to like try and find like where she's getting married, where's the church is, and all that kind of stuff, and
becoming a very sweaty hot mess by the time he gets there because he forgets to put petrol in his car.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot. I think it just feels a lot long-winded, and it's just like, where's the clever camera angles gone? Where's the clever music coming in? Where it feels like it
there is a bit when the car's like slowing down, that's like ding, 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 and like the engines run out, and so it's like
when he goes to the church and he's banging on the glass,
like he's like on the cross type of thing.
I think I got to the point of where I was just like really valued it until a certain point.
Okay,
which was a shame.
With the very last part anyway, obviously when she they are technically married and
they're not legally married. They did say I do, but they haven't signed any paperwork.
So
there's no evidence. So yeah, they're not.
Yeah, you'd already missed the I object part. But she's like, I'll run off with Ben, and disrespecting matrimony of it all.
She clearly didn't love the guy, did she? Yeah. Let's be honest.
Because again, it's always like using the cross to like swat the people away and then block the doors so they can't get out and everything. So, I forget exactly what she says to her mother. It's like, what was it now? Something like, she's like, you can't do this or something. It's like, yes, I can. No, it's something that said a little bit better than that. I can't remember.
I think it was like, I've still got time basically to do it. I
don't want to get put into this like you were in your situation.
Yeah, I'm not like you, Mum. I don't have to settle. I can choose who I want, and
this is who I want.
Yeah. And basically, kind of being a bit horrible to her mum because obviously her mum was trying to do good by her, basically. And I think she didn't really realise that. Yeah,
because she was a bit smarmy at the fact that Ben's like, let him, like bang on the glass and nothing's going to come of this. And then she's like, Ben responds in that way, and then runs off with him on that bus.
And I think that's the thing, she's quite smug that he's there for her.
Who Elaine is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just gets on the bus, they run all the way to the back, all the people are still like, what the hell is going on? And there was like that other fight, that closing shot where obviously said about like how unsure of what the future's going to hold, and they're both like, they're like laughing, but then the sort of like realisation, like, where do we go from here type of thing. We're on this bus journey, but where's what's the destination for us?
What's the finish line?
Yeah.
And everybody's staring at them.
Because, like, Elaine's parents won't have anything to do with it now, for sure. My parents probably will be exactly the same type of thing. So it's like we're kind of probably now on our own, and we've now got to deal with that in whatever capacity.
Actually be adults and have, not the lap of luxury.
And, he's not he didn't seem, for that brief moment, he's sort of happy, but then he's then again staring ahead and going, oh my God, like he was at the start of the film. So, yeah.
Or just a load of random people looking at him.
Yeah. And she doesn't look best, at least, to be honest. Maybe she's like oh God, what have I done? As well.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of everything, isn't it? It's like, what's the repercussions for all of this?
Yes. Yeah. And that's the film.
Hmm?
I feel like we did that in more of a sort of sequential thing. I feel like we haven't done that in a while. You know, like with the beats of this.
No, what are you trying to say? Are you blaming me?
No, not necessarily. I think for this film, it felt more fluid to do it that way, I think. Really, because there was sort of like how the story beats progressed from point to point and things spring up that way. But it's your turn to score.
Never. So this could have been high, I think, if it wasn't for the ending. And it's not saying that I don't enjoy it and I wouldn't revisit it. It's none of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, I'm going to give it an 8, which is still quite high. But I think it could have been a lot more solid and higher than that. It could have been a really good piece for me if it wasn't as annoying towards the back end. I loved what the Mrs. Robinson's performance that she gives. She's a sassy woman and she's knows what she wants, and good on her, I guess. I'm not condoning an affair, by the way. Really not saying that's the right thing. But just the way that she has the sex appeal and the ownership and ness of a woman. Like, she's fierce, isn't she? Benjamin's like a typical boy man trapped in headlights. And it works. The music's pretty solid until you get the same song repeating at the end. And there's some really clever camera work that we've mentioned already.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it makes it a strong piece. But I'm just a bit let down with how the ending is. Not saying that I'm not happy that they get together. I think it just felt like everything was quite quickly with the beats of the film. And then that seemed to drag in comparison to
the third act a little bit.
Yeah.
Is there anything, how would you sort of improve on that last part then, in a way, if you could sort of surmise, sort of like cut out some of the bit where he's trying to follow her around? Or
I wouldn't want Benjamin being as pathetic as he was, I guess. I think I'd want him to get his crap together and sort himself out and be like, actually, look, I'm a husband material worthy. Like, get a job, go do something and prove his worth instead of just stalking her to be like, hey, you're going to marry me, you're going to marry me. And it seems like a bit of a forceful thing instead of...
Would you still wanted how the latter part ended where he's run to the church and...
Yeah, that would have been fine.
You know what I mean? Like, say, like he kind of got a job, got himself settled and then realised, oh crap.
Yeah, trying to better himself for Elaine. So that then when they're getting on a bus, they've got an actual future to go to.
Okay.
Instead of just being a needy, pathetic
I get you.
boy and just kind of, I can't have something, so I want it. That's what it felt like. And mummies and daddies have told me I can't have it, so I want it even more. Like she's a toy.
Yeah, I get you. I'm on a 0.5 higher for yours, so
We're getting very similar with scorings now.
In some respects, yeah.
Yeah.
So, it was enjoyable to come back to it. I've kind of forgotten the fact that there's like that part near the end was kind of like the same music repeated, and and how his character sort of like turns for part of the third act. So that's a bit of a letdown in a sense, but I really, really appreciate like what the camera work and how things were set up at the beginning, and especially more picking up on those things like you said, like the scuba suit and like how he felt isolated and just like not listened to. And that I feel like appreciating that more this time around. From I can't remember last time I will have seen the film, but I mean I enjoyed it then. I would have put it higher maybe back then, but whenever it was, how many years ago it was, but yeah, I can't really rate it top marks because of just how sort of his character becomes. The back end and those musical moments that just don't need to go on for so long. But yeah, I can certainly appreciate it, and it's something to recommend to people if they haven't seen it. Yeah, for sure. And I'm recognising that the mayor was in it.
So, like, your highlight, when you watched it last, did you not realise it was the mayor from
No,
Jaws?
I guess not. Because, you know, like when you see films that, you haven't seen for a while, or anything like that, and then you might have done the same when you've kind of been, as we've been on this film journey, seeing stuff and going, what films he's been in that film and something else.
True.
Yeah.
If I remember the film name, yeah.
yeah.
That's a wrap.
Yeah.
On Bonfire Night. If Americans know, or anybody else knows what Bonfire Night is, it's a thing in UK history.
Celebrating, get the
Guy Fawkes.
Gunpowder treason and plot.
Yeah. Want to blow up Parliament.
Yeah. So celebrating that fact that he didn't blow them up.
Yeah. So then we blow up the whole country, with...
Blow up the sky with emissions, yeah.
Yeah, and pollute it and set everything on fire, basically, once a year. And have parking and pie and peas. Sounds great, doesn't it? When you put it like that. So, we'll go on to his little bumpy stuff now, shall we?
We will.
What we're doing first?
Start with the patrons.
Okay.
This time around.
So, if you want to be a Patreon, and you should, because it's amazing, you get to A, be our Patreon, B, you get to vote for a movie once a month, and every single week, and I mean every single week, you get your name shouted out, and we might say something nice about you.
So before I read the names out, I'll say, if you want to join our Patreon family, you can do so by going to patreon.com/SP Film Viewers. It's only £1 or $1.50 a month to do so. And now we're going to read out the names of the people who have kindly showed their support.
Okay. So we have got Alex, who is soon to be a husband and be walking down the aisle. So he is one of our close friends. He's on Instagram under the handle Desperately Seeking Username. They have got underscores in the middle if you...
Yeah, but you should, if you start desperately, you definitely...
Yeah, you should find it.
Yeah.
And then his lovely wife-to-be, Shani, which I always hash her SDOG. SDOG.
There you go. No, you got it.
SDOG.
Yep.
Yes, just say it really quickly. She's on Instagram. This is why I never do Shani's, because I always struggle with a hashtag name. Yeah, really excited for upcoming wedding of the year. Well, I haven't been to any other wedding, so...
No, so yeah, technically it's going to be the year. Also got our friend Jones, who is under the handle @WeightLossJonesy on Instagram. And we've also got his partner Emma, who is under the handle M_Hayton. We've recently gone and seen their little new puppy, Lenny. Yeah.
Little Jack Russell, if anyone wants to know, he's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah,
He's stolen my heart.
So if you go on their Instagram pages, I'm sure you'll find.
I'm pretty sure you will.
Pictures.
They're very proud parent doggies. We also have my wonderful mum, and we have your best man, Gren, who is on Instagram under the handle @CGren_draw. He's got a lot of good things on there, so go check him out. And if you do want to drop him a message, he will reply. So drop him a line.
Mm-hmm. And then the podcast friends.
Little podcast family.
Yeah.
They're all male.
They are. We've got Nico from the Good, the Bad and the Weird podcast. We've got Mark from 100 Things We Learned from Film. Recently I pointed out to you that he said you were an underrated co-host in his Planty Pod Awards that he did on Twitter.
It did go to my head, and then you told me I didn't win.
At least you were nominated. Yeah. True.
But you just brought me back to reality. I was like, oh, really? I was like, And then you went, you didn't win. And I was like, oh, thanks, Paul.
And Ben from Film Vloggers. Yeah, I don't think he's done any new content recently, but I don't know if he's...
Probably getting back to life.
Yeah.
Back
he's
to
kind
reality.
of like, I don't need to do this anymore. I don't know if it's sad because his content is really good, but I'm pretty sure the episodes are still up on there to listen to because the banter him and Fiona were great, but I wish he'd come back to, into the fray. And
I think he will. I think he's obviously been travelling, hasn't he? So it's then just getting back to life. Normal. Life it can get in the way, can't it?
Yeah, it can.
And we have to be quite organised to get one in every week.
That's true.
It's not easy. It looks easy because it appears every week, but the effort that goes into it.
Yeah, so the podcasters know it's not.
It's not. But yeah, well, thank you so much for our little Patreon family. We love you to bits, and we're grateful that people actually listen.
Absolutely. And if you would like to listen to some of our other episodes, you can do so by going to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and wherever else you get your podcasts from. And of course, if you want to follow us on the social platforms like Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and TikTok, we are under the handle SP_filmviewers. So give us a like, comment, subscribe.
I'd zoned out for a second, but I just realised you took my part. I was like, wait a minute, I don't want to say this. So now since you've pinched my part, I'll tell them where they can go get a 5-star review then.
No, they've got to give us a 5-star.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
They're getting a 5-star
like
review
a restaurant. So if you do want to give us 5-star, which would be very much appreciated, because obviously we deliver brilliant content, as you can tell. You can do that by going to Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever they do their scoring systems. So yeah, leave us a lovely little 5-star saying that we're good, and it gets us out into the ether and that algorithm where people then find you somehow. I did a lot of arm movements there where no one can see them. I was very passionate about it, clearly.
Indeed.
So that's one done, and then that means only 3 more, and then we're Christmas.
No, well, a bit
2.
2, and then it's on to Christmas.
Yes.
Watches, yeah. So I'll be on the lookout for that. Next week, I believe, is Patreon pick, so I'll be putting a poll up.
Boo! No, I'm joking. But I think the reason why I'm a bit scared is Patreon pick, but it's neither one of us have seen.
It's true, but I think I'm going for a certain theme with it.
Better not be horror.
No, it won't be. It's not horror related, I promise you. So, thank you very much for listening once again, and we will speak to you next time.
Hopefully my voice will be back to normal next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
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 Bye.